start.
Hare Krishna to all our viewers. A very warm welcome to another episode of Life Questions Insight from Gita. We all have heard so many times from our elders and must have read in the scriptures that human life is very precious. Being born as a human is the greatest blessing to us from God. Why? Because moksha or liberation can only be attained in this birth. How? By following the teachings written in our scriptures. And Srimad Bhagavad Gita has A to Z of how to attain the moksha or the liberation. So let's find out more teachings from our very eminent Gita scholar, Sri Tayal sir. Let's welcome Tayal sir. Hare Krishna
Hare,
sir.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
So with all your consent, can we start our today's session, sir?
Certainly, please.
So first question is, sir, what is anger and how is it different from ego?
I prostrate before you, Udamji, and all the listeners to this program, because you all are lovers of Gita. It's a wonderful question that you asked. Whenever the desires meet with obstacles, anger arises. However, if the person is more powerful, then instead of anger, fear arises. Let us see what Gita says about anger. Gita says, Shaknoti have yasodum prak sharir vibhoshana kam krodhat bhavam vegam sayukta sa sukhi nara. He who is able to control the forces arising out of desires and anger before leaving the body is only happy, and he's a yogi. Thus, if you want to be happy, you got to necessarily control your anger. Gita also says, Trividam narkasya yedam dwaram nashyan matmanaha. Kamas krodhas tatha lobhas tasmadetat trayam tajet. Now, this means there are three gateways to hell. One is kamas, that is desires, krodhas, that is anger, and lobhas is greed. So, anger, desires, and greed, these are three gateways to hell, and one must essentially renounce them. Anger certainly causes one's downfall. Hence, instead of saying, well, I do get angry and that's a folly in me. Yes, it is a folly in you. You should be seriously concerned about controlling anger. Don't just accept anger, try and control it. Now let us understand what is ego. Ahankar. There are two types of ahankar. One is the true ahankar and another is false, mithya ahankar, false ego. Ahankar actually means belief in oneself. When one says that I am soul or I am God's fragment, that is the true ahankar, true ego. Right? But when one says that I am body, he is now being in false ahankar, false ego. Whenever ahankar is referred to, actually it is the false ego that is being referred to. In false ego, one says, since he is related to the body, he is thinking himself to be the body. So he says, I'm very powerful, I'm weak, I'm very intelligent. Well, my intelligence is not so great. I don't have a very good memory. or I have a wonderful memory. All these relate to the body. Hence, are nothing but follies. These are these are incorrect ahankars, false egos. And ahankar, false ego, relates to these conditions which we ascribe to ourselves being related to the body. That's it.
Wow, they are, I think, the greatest teachings that Kam, Krodh, Lobh are the three gateways to the hell. And this I've come to know for the very first time, the true ego and the false ego. So true ego should be there. That means I am the part of God.
Right.
Beautifully, very beautifully explained. Let's take our next question. We have live question. Shivlalji Joshiji, ex-DGP from Jaipur, is with us. I'll request sir to kindly put up his question.
Good evening, sir. I am
Hare
Shivlal
Krishna.
Joshi. I am a retired IGP from Rajasthan. Sir, my question is, it is said that whatever you think would happen, is it true? If so, please explain it.
Joshi Sahib, it's indeed a very relevant question.
Yes,
Very
sir.
relevant to our everyday's happening. Now, if you are wishing for material gains, those would materialize, for sure, is not the rule. There is no such rule. On the contrary, Gita says that your material desires never get satisfied. Yathai dhansi samido agni bhasm sat kurte arjuna jnana agni dagdha karmani bhasm sat kurte tatha. Like the burning fire consumes all the fuel, similarly, desires consume everything. Desires consume everything. It never gets satisfied. In Bhagavatam, it is also said that a person, person's desires cannot be satisfied even by the entire wealth in the world, by all the ladies present in the world, all the wealth that exists in the world. All that is not sufficient to satisfy even one person's desires. However, if you're thinking about God all the time, you would certainly develop love for Him and attain Him. So it depends on what you are thinking. And remember, thoughts are very powerful. Krishna has said in Gita, Ant kale cha mamev smaran muktva kalevram ya prayati samad bhavam yati nastetra sanshya. That is, if you leave the body thinking about me at the last moment, you would for sure attain me. He goes on to say further, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyastyante kalevram tam tame vyati kaunte sada tad bhav bhavita. Whatever are your thoughts before leaving the body, you are going to attain that. So your thoughts are definitely very important, and one must be extremely conscious of what one is thinking, and thoughts do not come randomly. You would have thoughts of only those things to which you are attracted. If you are attracted to the material world, your thoughts would be of material world only, material things only. However, If you have renounced attraction for the material things, then you would have thoughts relating to God. And remember, thoughts relating to material things would cause your downfall, whereas thoughts relating to God would certainly cause your upliftment, salvation, love for God. So that is how we must practice to take our thoughts. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Well explained, sir. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for coming. I am getting so much benefit from these answers through past episodes. I have learned so much, and I would really strongly recommend to our viewers to put up their questions and find out the solutions from our sir, because sir explains it so well, and by giving the reference of the appropriate shloka. So because we cannot read so many shlokas, 700, and it will take too much time. So the shortcut is like find out your solutions from the Gita. So keep on asking your questions. We are waiting for you all. So let's move on to our next question, sir. What is the benefit of ordination? That is formally becoming a disciple.
That is Diksha Lena.
Yeah, yes.
Right. Yeah. There is there are a lot of controversies in this regard. It's a beautiful question. Well, at the time of ordination, what does a disciple do? He commits himself to follow precisely what Guru would tell him. At the time of Diksha, the disciple is committing himself to do precisely what the Guru tells him. In Gita, there is a shlok, ye tu dharmyamrit midam yathoktam paryupaste Shraddhadana mat parma bhaktas teti me priye. Arjun, whatever I have told you, you should follow it absolutely in the same manner, without deducting anything from that or without adding anything to that. Those such devotees who follow my preachings in this manner are extremely dear to me. Hence, it is definitely beneficial to go for ordination. If Guru's preachings do not cause disciples' attraction to he himself, that is towards Guru, and the disciple follows Guru's such preachings in the same manner that had been told to him, then he would certainly attain salvation. But if the Guru is preaching to the disciple to get attracted in him, cause or sings his praises, then such preachings are not going to help disciple very much. Or if the Guru tells him how to make money, how to get job, again Bhagavatam says such gurus are blind and that they make their disciples blind also. So there is definite benefit in ordination. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, very beautifully explained. Now we are joined live with one of our friends, Mr. Abhishek ji. He's asking a question. So I would request Abhishek ji to kindly put up his question.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. So my question is related to my job. I have a manager and I have some of my colleagues which work under the same manager. So what happens is generally my colleague will want some of the help from me, but like most of the times, as I am already overloaded with my work, I am not able to help him. So what happens is that colleague will misinterpret this scenario like I'm not helping him, and he will represent it in a wrong way to my manager, which reduces the performance that I'm showing towards the project, and which overall reduces my performance towards the project, and it negatively impacts my growth. So even I also want to help my colleague at times, but due to my overloaded work, I'm not able to. So in that kind of scenarios, what should I do?
This is, I think, a very common problem to most of the
Right.
employees. Yeah, sir, kindly.
Abhishek Saab, as Poonamji has already said, your problem is a very relevant problem, and it happens all the time in the commercial world. So first of all, you got to get rid of your desire of having your performance analysis as very superior, and instead just develop an attitude to serve others. I'm glad that you have already an attitude to serve others, as you have said that you do want to help your colleague, but it's just because of your excessive workload that you're not able to help them. And this attitude to serve others is going to help you in your spiritual advancement. However, as long as you would have the desire for best performance analysis, Gita says, Kam esha krodesha rajo gun samudbhava mahashano mahapapma vidyen mi varinam. It is calm, that is desire. Kam esha krodesha. Or it is the desire and the anger which are eternal enemies of anyone. So you got to get rid of your desire for a very good performance analysis. If you get rid of this desire and talk to your manager on your own initiative without your manager calling you, and you tell him that you want to help you definitely want to help your colleague, but I find myself to be sufficiently overloaded and I am not able to devote time to help him. Please guide me. What should I do? Now, under these circumstances, when you will talk to him, when you will be talking to him and talking to him with this attitude, your manager is going to help you. Everyone is now going to come to your help, but if your desire for a superior performance analysis remains, the situation is going to be different. Nobody likes selfish people. And everyone tries to see the selfish motive in any person whoever speaks. When you will be devoid of that selfish motive, person is going to be greatly pleased. Right? So now the manager, when you will be talking to your manager is going to be very compassionate to you and listen to you in an understanding manner. Desires, however, cause tensions, which you already have. Desires cause tensions. Not wanting anything for yourself leads to happiness and peace. So this tension which you have is not the tension not that you are not able to help others. It is tension arising because of your desire. If you are able to get rid of it, trust me, your life is going to be very happy. It's going to be full of peace. That's it.
I'm
Hare
sure,
Krishna.
Abhishek ji, you have got your answer.
Yeah, very well explained, and I've got some insights. Serving and removing the desires. So these two, I also try to follow as much as possible. Like whatever I have the capabilities, I will definitely keep on this track. Thank Hare Krishna.
Hare
Wonderful. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so let's move on to our next question. It is said that God has created us. It is also said that ultimate goal of our life is to realize Him. Then should it be concluded that He has created us so that we worship Him? If it is not so, why does He punish us when we don't obey Him? So,
It is indeed very knowledgeable to know the goal of life. Goal of life to realize God. And I'm glad that you know this goal. You have stated so in your question.
yeah,
But you got to remember, worshipping God alone doesn't lead to realizing God. To attain God, you need to love Him, not just worship Him. You need to love Him. And worshipping helps you to do so. That's why Krishna says in Gita, Manmana bhav mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Mame vaishyasi yuktva matmanam matparayanaha. That is, put your mind in me. Attach your mind in me and worship me. So, worshipping without putting your mind in Him is not going to give you the results. You're going to get attached to Him and worship Him. If that will be the situation, this question would not arise. Another thing, Gita tells us that God never punishes us. He loves us all the time, eternally. If we get adverse circumstances, it is not because that He's punishing us, it is because He's purifying us. Please accept it, that if we perform good deeds, we'll get favorable circumstances as results. If we commit sins, what we would get would be adverse circumstances. Thus, these adverse circumstances which we get are to get us rid of the sins which we have committed in the past. Therefore, it's God's love for us to send these adverse circumstances by them. He's purifying us, cleaning us. A young child, when comes home dirtied all over, what does mother do? She cleans him. And maybe the child cries, but mother doesn't shun from cleaning him. Mother just cleans him. That's what God is doing with us. Cleaning us by sending those adverse circumstances, whether we like them or not. He has neither any desire from us. He doesn't want us to become his slave. Remember, Lord Ram, he developed friendly relations with Nishadraj, Sugriv, and Vibhishan. God never made anybody his slave. Similarly, Krishna, his entire cowherd family was his friend. He didn't ask anyone to serve him,
yes.
right? So God never punishes us. He loves us eternally, and that is what he has confirmed in Gita also. That's
Very,
it.
very, very beautifully explained. I think I have also got the answer to one of my problems. So let's move on to our next question. Question is, one loses the sense of responsibility while working as a karmyogi. Consequently, his motivation to work also gets reduced. What should be done to remain motivated?
Karma yogi, he works without desires, without any desire to get anything for himself, and always works for the benefit of others. Well, I forgot to state that this is a very relevant question, but often Karma Yogi's activities are misunderstood. And this scholar, this person who has put up this question, he also needs to be clarified. Now let us think, if we work with any selfish motive, there would be plenty of obstacles in his path. Such obstacles are bound to be there. And then won't he get disheartened when he meets with so many obstacles? On the contrary, if one works without any desires for oneself, there would be certainly lesser impediments in his path, and accomplishment would become easier. And at the end of all this, his motivation level would certainly increase. Let us again take the example of mother tending to her child. She serves him day in and day night. But does her motivational level get reduced? Certainly not. Sister, let us take the similar example between sisters and brothers. How happy are they when they are serving each other? They never get fatigued by that. Let's take another example of a person who is serving those people whom he doesn't know at all. Workers in a mela. Now, these workers, they are working from morning till night, and after they come back and go to bed, they don't remember anybody. Their body is exhausted, and they get a very peaceful sleep. There is never any question of being disheartened or discouraged. So if you want to remain motivated, you got to renounce desires rather than putting on desires. If you work with desires, tensions are going to be there in you. And very soon you would get disheartened because desires never get satisfied. Right?
So, very nice. So, what I have found the crux of the complete thing is that desires, you need to renounce from the desires. You have to put an end to your desires and then function ahead in your life. All right, so let's end our today's episode with lots of teachings and lots of knowledge. Knowledge really gives lots of solace and strength in our life to go ahead. It removes the ignorance, gives a clear picture of the life. So I would really strongly recommend to all our viewers to put up all your questions and get the answers from ourselves. So you all can put up your questions on our website or YouTube channel or Facebook link. The details are being displayed on the screen. Hare Krishna.